One of the greatest franchises started in 1984. That's right, of course I'm talking about Ghostbusters. Wait. Transformers started in 84 too. Wait. Ghostbusters and Transformers in one? Here with Ectotron? He's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, and L and Me everywhere. And I am ecstatic that you're here today because I was really excited when I saw this guy. I'm not usually one for crossovers, but I love the Ecto-1. As a kid, I thought it was just such a cool, souped up, emergency over-the-top vehicle, and when I saw this I thought, wow, that's pretty hyper accurate to the first film, and the robot looks great to boot too. Doesn't hurt that they're kind of basing it on a mold that I really enjoy anyway. And then they even go a mile farther by giving us this beautiful G1 packaging. What's not to like? We even get Slimer. Anyway, we're going to talk about everything to do with this guy when we head over to the table and take a closer look at him. And yes, here indeed we have what is most definitely the quirkiest figure in my collection because it's one of those crossover things. As a matter of fact, it is indeed the first figure announced in the Transformers Collaborative series. Will it actually end up being a series? I don't know, but if what I have heard about sales and pre-sales of this guy is any indication, then I would suspect we could see a lot of kind of classic vehicles be done in this motif. Now, we've had kind of crossovers before and they've been sort of hit or miss. Sometimes you get a really kind of great vehicle mode and a pretty iffy robot. Sometimes you get an okay robot and a bit of an iffy vehicle mode. This is a case where I think he wins absolutely across the board right from the get-go, starting with his packaging. Yes, that's right, I said with his packaging. We can see that there's a crossover symbol here. We can see what is a very type of G1 styled artwork over on the side. On the top we even have 5 images akin to what we used to have when it showed the transformation. We have the classic Transformers, you know, more than meets the eye logo and stuff. We have a little bit of, I guess, slime, I suppose, from Slimer over there, and a little bit more down at the bottom. We have the kind of classic Hasbro logo here. Ectotron Ecto-1. Of course, on the side, we have that nice product imaging. Same on the other side, for the record. And on the back we have a big Transformers 35. I would say that this is in celebration of the 35th anniversary, even though we did hear of the kind of cel-shaded repaint of Siege Optimus and Siege Megatron. We heard of a repaint of Soundwave to Sound Blaster and a Blue Streak, though we haven't really heard anything since. Peculiar, but I suspect that we'll see them sooner or later. Nevertheless, for now, we do have this. It is the absolute classic artwork that we're used to on the back. We have the write-up up here in 4 different languages of the Transformers. I think it's in 4 different languages. Yeah, it's 4 different languages. We have the thing that you would use the tech spec decoder with. Over there you can see Transformers Authentic. That's where we probably would have had robot points back in the day. And of course here we have his function and all of that stuff. I'm not even going to pretend that I don't adore the fact that he is called a paranormal investigator. And very recently I kind of noted this with the kind of Bumblebee movie box set, greatest hits cassette box set thing. Normally when we have the Autobots, the kind of peripheral colors, besides for the black and white, is red. When we have Decepticons, it's purple. When we had that Bumblebee box set, it was sort of a school bus orangey yellow. And this time around, it makes sense that it would be green. It's pretty decent. Instructions, actually, they're fairly clear, all things considered. The other side shows how you kind of make the Proton Pack. It also has this fun flap where it says, hey, he's a paranormal investigator. His mission is to transport Ghostbusters to hotspots, bust some ghosts. His status, ain't afraid of no ghosts. I find that so cool. He's in New York City. His tech is a Proton Pack, and his disguise is, well, it's the Ecto-1. More specifically, it's a 1959 Cadillac. Here we have a little soft, rubbery, translucent green Slimer. I've heard that this is actually reused from some Ghostbusters figure or figures, but it's Slimer. You can see the detail in hand. You can't really pick it out very well here. And here, of course, we have Ectotron in his Ecto-1 mode, because this is the way he comes in packaging. This is extremely true. Now, there's probably a couple of slight liberties taken up around the junk on top, but I don't know if many people would really notice. This is the way the Ecto-1 appeared in the original Ghostbusters, not Ghostbusters 2. It was a little more souped up in Ghostbusters 2. Nevertheless, when I think of the Ecto-1, whether it's from the movie or the real Ghostbusters cartoon for that matter, this is pretty much what I remember. Like, this is quite excellent, right down to the point of having the white wall tires and the kind of red detailing back here on the lights. There's a lot of kind of paint on this guy. I get why it's a bit premium, because they did want to make it kind of hyper accurate to the vehicle mode. If we want to be really specific about it, he's actually a 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor. And I think it is very, very true to form. It's amazing to me that this is essentially the same mold as Hotspot, Inferno, Onslaught from the Combiner Wars line, with all of the Combiner stuff taken out, which probably kind of is to this guy's credit. I'm going to just call it right now in terms of paint apps and I guess look and resemblance. This is a 10. It is a 10. Absolute 10. Even in robot mode, it has nods to the uniform of the Ghostbusters so much. Yeah, it's a 10. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Articulation transformation, we'll get to that in a couple of moments and give it a grade as well. But this is quite good. If you got this and just said, hey, I'm going to display it like this is my Ecto-1, I think you could do that no problem and be quite happy with it. Now, I adjusted things a bit here so that you can kind of see everything that I'm doing. Right off the get-go, we're going to start the transformation and we're going to have to detach a few things. Notably, this ladder piece. It is soft, rubbery plastic. I don't know about the longevity of that. We detach this piece. Again, soft, rubbery plastic. The longevity of that also worries me. And on the opposite side, if I turn the guy around, here on the opposite side, we have to detach this as well from in here, from in right there on the side. And then this whole top piece, the whole thing comes off. And we're going to remove that. It is going to be his Proton Pack. We'll look at that in just a little bit. But we're left with basically this mode here. There's a big hole in the top now, and he has sirens. For the record, here is what we have underneath. You can pretty much see how this is going to go, I believe. I think. So how do we start doing this guy? Well, he's going to get taller, so we're definitely going to have to reposition as we go. But we'll start with the sides here first. And they come out on hinges and come right up over. And comes out on a hinge and right up over. And then we can stand the guy up and bring down his feet, basically. As you can see, I've already got to reposition things. Okay, so we've got him this far. Next we split the lower legs, bring down the shin pieces, and now we can extend the legs. This one, there. And close up and close up. Then we also come here to the back and we pick out the heel spur and pick out the heel spur, which is really the trunk. And we can stand the guy up. With that much done, I think it's going to be kind of self-explanatory here now. We can split the hood and bring it down to the side. We can begin to take his hands out a little bit. We rotate and rotate the arms. We bring this down and bring this one down and get the wrist out. Then we push this little piece down. It's really the back half of the hood and kind of the tire. And then on a soft ratchet, we turn that forward. Same over here. We push this down, ratchet that forward. We open up the chest and we take out the head and close the chest back up. And here we have the robot mode, and he does have eyes just below his goggles, though it's really hard to see. The beige on him is very much Ghostbusters beige, and he even has the name tag with Ectotron on his chest. The goggles are very race stance-ish. This is so cool to look at, and he can score some great poses, and he's very stable. I'm going to show the head closer just to see if we can see his eyes. I don't know if this is working and if you can see his name tag and if you can see his eyes. Hopefully you can. I don't know, but it's really cool in hand. That's the best thing I can say to you. So we had a 10 for his colors paint scheme. What about his transformation? I want to say 10 because it's easy, it's fun. However, that 10 does come with a caveat because we do have about 3 pieces that are soft rubbery plastic that aren't the thickest soft rubbery plastic. The ladder down here on his leg and a couple of pieces on his Proton Pack that we'll look at shortly. I am a bit concerned about that, not going to pretend I'm not. So it's 10 with the caveat that those pieces may not last with too many transformations. Maybe they will, I don't know. What about his articulation? His articulation's all right. We have a head that can go left and right. It can look down and kind of look up a bit. His arm can go forward this far and back this far because it does get kind of hindered a bit by the shoulder knocking off of the door piece that you fold up. But it's a decent range. It can go way out and up. We have a bicep swivel. We have a super duper deep elbow. We have wrists that can go in, but that's all they're doing. We have no waist. We have legs all the way out to the side. We can go all the way forward. We can go only back about that far because of kibble, really. We have a thigh swivel. We have a knee to 90 degrees. We have toes that can tilt forward and a heel that can tilt forward, but not to the side. I've heard of the knees being kind of loose and weak on some of them. This one here on mine is a little bit like, it's not falling or anything, but it is. I can feel it just a little bit looser than this one over here. Nothing that's going to cause him to fall or anything, but it is just a touch looser. So I will say that his articulation, it's, you know, wrist rotation would be nice. His arm being able to go all the way around would be nice, but you could still score some good poses. A waist would definitely be nice. I'll say his articulation's about an 8. And then we have this thing. It was on the top of the vehicle mode and we took it off. We begin by removing this piece. It is really the wand of the Proton Pack, and it very much looks like the wand of a Proton Pack. There's a handle here so he can hold it like a Proton Pack wand, or by this peg and hold it more like a traditional blaster. There's a hole in the back section of the Proton Pack wand, and you can plug that into it. It's alright solid, but don't be shocked if it comes out in the course of us doing this conversion. In terms of the conversion, we come here and we open this piece out. We fold this red piece down, and we will start to bring this up. Now, as we start to bring this up, there's a little, I guess, circle up right there at the very kind of top, and we take this other piece, the antenna piece, and we stick that in there. It's a bit of a trial to do it, and then we will close this up, and really, in essence, now you have a Proton Pack. Just so we're clear here, this is the orientation of the Proton Pack, with this cord being down bottom, these blasters that we've turned out to the side pointing down toward the bottom. How do I know that this is the correct way for the Proton Pack to be? Because if we turn it around, we have a rectangular tab, I guess, up there, and that fits into this slot right here, so that he looks like... The general intention is for him to look more like this, although you could have him hold this kind of upright by this like wand section back here. That being said, because his wrist does not have the necessary articulation, he'll just be sort of holding it up straight like a sword or a hammer or something like that. Not exactly what you're looking for. And here he is in comparison to a couple of Voyagers. I thought I'd pull out the Titans Return Sentinel Prime, because when does anybody compare anything to Sentinel Prime anymore, you know? But like you can see, he's about the same size as, you know, a Titan Return Voyager, which makes sense because he's based on a Combiner Wars Voyager. The Siege Starscream here, my custom Siege Starscream, who I looked at very recently, and you can see that the Siege is significantly smaller. So it's a good sized Voyager based on a good mold. So I like Ghostbusters fine enough. I definitely like Transformers, and I think that this is a great representation of both of those franchises. Overall score, I'm going to say, is a 9. He's definitely worth getting. It hits on a couple of nostalgia factors, but even if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not much into crossovers, I don't really need an Ecto-1. Honestly, if you just take it from the perspective that this is a Transformer and he happened to scan the Ecto-1 as his alt mode, then you know what? I think that you can look at this kind of as a pure through and through Transformer, and it's fun. It's fun. It is taking the best parts of that Combiner Wars mold and then replacing what's weaker with parts that are even better, if that makes any sense. And here we are, and top to bottom, this guy is a win, and it surprises me because I'm not usually into crossovers. The box is fantastic G1 goodness with a little bit of slime to bring out the Ghostbustery side. This artwork is so very G1 inspired, even with the 5 images on the top, and like the classic image on the back, it's fantastic. The little Slimer figure is a nice little add-on, but I mean, he's just a soft rubbery blob that apparently you can put on a flight stand. The figure inside is extremely hyper-accurate to the Ecto-1 from the first film. Not the second film, but who cares about that one? The liberties that might be taken with the kind of junk on the top of the vehicle, I don't even know if you'll notice. I really don't. The robot is great. It's based on a great mold, and they took the best pieces, like I said, of that Hotspot Onslaught mold, and what they remolded and redid, they remolded and redid very, very well. The conversion is smooth, the look is fantastic, and the articulation is pretty great. Yes, the shoulders are slightly limited, but I find I don't really miss it or notice it. A waist would be nice. You know, some things aren't perfect, but in terms of being a crossover figure, I think he wins in robot mode and in vehicle mode. I don't know if this is actually going to be a line, but I feel like this guy in particular is going to be someone that a lot of collectors are going to want to add to their own shelf. I know I'm certainly glad to add him to mine. Let me know what you think about Ectotron. You know I love to hear from you guys. Again, What can I say? Thanks for giving me some of your very valuable time. Please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so very much, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.